What's up, guys? So the first official trailer for Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix has finally dropped, and it's time for a shot-by-shot breakdown. So hit the like button if you remember the day the Fire Nation attacked, and let's get going. So I do want to start just by saying that I thought that this trailer was absolutely epic. And immediately after watching it, I just wanted to comb through the entire thing with a magnifying glass just to see exactly what is happening in every single frame. So that's what we're doing today, but before we start, I do want to send out a warning. If you haven't seen the original series and you're worried about spoilers, I might be diving into a couple here, so watch out for that. But if you're a massive fan like me, or you just don't really care about spoilers, stick around and let's get going, shall we? Okay, so this trailer opens with this Fire Nation fleet, and I think aesthetically they've already nailed this. I don't know what's on the front of this ship, but it looks like a tiger or a lion or something, but just like the smokestacks coming out of the ships here, it's really, really great to see in live action. And then you clearly have Monkey Yatsu kind of speaking in the background. You hear this very earnest voice, so I'd imagine this is Monkey Yatsu. But next we have this beautiful shot of Appa flying above what looks like the scorched forest here from the Winter Solstice episodes. And so this is probably in what is now, most likely in this live action adaptation, one condensed episode before they get to Heibai and all that. Looks like they're flying over it right there. And one thing to note, I was listening to the producers break this trailer down, and they were talking about the journey that they had with practical sets and locations versus CGI. They were saying that they're going to be using a lot of practical locations within this show, and so that's exciting. I don't know whether this shot has any practical stuff in it. That's probably a big CGI forest, but it is still very exciting. Also, Appa flying here just looks perfect to me. It really does. But then we get this scene that we already saw kind of in the teaser, and it's expanded on here. We're actually getting a deep dive look into the Fire Nation attacking the Southern Air Temple. And I don't know, this could be maybe within a recap in the first episode, just talking about the atrocities committed by the Fire Nation. Or maybe it's a flashback when Aang discovers the temple in ruin. And I don't know, I'm not sure, but we have that, and we have this amazing line, "The world needs the Avatar," and that goes into what looks like Fire Lord Sozin. And so this is why I think this is probably some sort of a recap. And he's battling what could be Monkey Yatsu. That looks pretty sick. But this is really what everybody has been freaking waiting for. Look at that. The detail and care given to this scene alone, the boy in the iceberg. This is what started it all, you know what I mean? So seeing that beam of light hit the sky and then seeing Aang in the Avatar state, that is so dope to me. It's giving nostalgic vibes for sure. But moving forward, we're also very aware now that so much more attention is going to be paid to the Fire Nation in this show. And this is something that I've speculated about quite a bit, really since seeing that Azula and Fire Lord Ozai were going to have a bit of a bigger role within this first season, this first book. But we're already seeing them in this trailer, and it's been announced that in this live action series there's going to be a lot more background added to them. And it makes sense, the original is perfect in every way. We'll just say that. But for a live action run, you might want to introduce the big bad, the Fire Lord, and Zuko's sister a little earlier. I think it'll pay off for them in the long run, story arc wise. And can we all just agree that the costumes and just Daniel Day Kim, it looks freaking amazing as Ozai. This is crazy. But we also do see Azula here firing an arrow just for a short flash. And then there are some ostrich horses. And this is actually something I wanted to note. In the original, ATLA is known for having all of these hybrid animals, or just animals in general. But they're not just in the background. These animals are paid attention to. And so to already see in this trailer the attention that is being paid to them, even just seeing these guys riding these little ostrich horses, I think it bodes well. And I want one. I want a little ostrich horse. That'd be pretty cool. But we also see a small little flash of Zuko here. We're going to get more into him here in just a little bit because he has a larger place in this trailer. But the next thing I wanted to talk about is this, the Southern Air Temple. And I think this is definitely going to be an episode that comes very early in this first season. And I'm just curious to see how it plays out, especially how all the flashbacks of his childhood are handled, and then also just the skeleton of Monkey Yatsu and Aang entering the Avatar state. This episode contains some of the first real emotion that we see in the series, so we'll see. But this trailer also gives us some of the first dialogue from Katara and Sokka. I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but please let me know your thoughts down in the comments just about what you're thinking about the look of these two characters, this brother and sister. I think Katara sounds good. She's such an important character. I'm really hoping that they just freaking nail this. But we see Aang on an air scooter, and it's a little homage to the opening credits. I love that little detail was added in there, because little things like that just make us, the viewer, know that a lot of care care and attention is being paid to that original series that we all love so much. These aren't just like random people that are just making this series like, oh, I guess Avatar is kind of cool. These are fans of that. They might not think that we notice stuff like this, but we certainly do. And we appreciate it, and I love that this little snippet is in this trailer because it showcases to people out there that maybe aren't familiar with this series that Aang is just a kid. At the end of the day, he's just a 12-year-old who's tasked with saving the world. Like, I get chills whenever I talk about it because it's so intense and it's such an emotional journey for this young kid to be on, and so... yeah, but besides that, we get another look, a good look at one of the most important pieces of this entire thing. We have Sokka, and he's being funny. He has a great little line of dialogue, and he's eating. So, perfect. Honestly, this kid, Ian Owsley, like the more interviews that I watch, I'm starting to think that he is just like a real-life Sokka. But we finally get to Iroh and Zuko. And, you know, Dante Basco, the original voice actor, he has such a stranglehold in my mind on this character, but seeing Dallas here, and he's just saying, it's my destiny. But bro, can you guys imagine if this kid ends up being as good as we're all hoping that he is? Because then you get freaking Book 2, and you get Book 3 Zuko. Like, I don't know, man. Just fingers crossed that this performance is awesome and that they just knock it out of the park with Zuko. But another thing to highlight is we see some solid fire bending here. We get a look at Iroh being a badass and then one of the core moments of Zuko's past. And we see Ozai looking extremely intimidating. And God, I gotta get into the gym. I do. But then there is the Agni Kai. And look at the firebending here. You can already see Ozai's power demonstrated. It's just unmatched, and they're able to showcase that just within his firebending. But I already talked about some of the emotion that comes from Aang, and what's next here? Yes. So what's next here? We have Appa. And if you're familiar with my channel, you've probably heard me talking just about how important it is to get Appa and Momo right. Because they are very important characters to this story, specifically Appa when it comes to Aang and his relationship. And just look at this, guys. Like, I'm crying, man. Like, this is so good. Appa looks incredible. And honestly, if this show continues into Book 2 and 3, I don't know how I'm going to handle some of those episodes, man. He's just a good boy. But then on the other side, they're also accompanied by a little winged lemur named Momo, my favorite character. And God, man, just like seeing him come to life in this trailer, it's nuts. Just look at Momo. It's so adorable. That's amazing. But I also like the camaraderie between Aang, Sokka, and Katara in this scene. It's nice to see that hopefully we have some chemistry between these actors and hopefully they work well together. But then that leads us to another animal. We have Nyla and June the bounty hunter. And this actress just, she brought it, man. She brought all the vibes with her. You know what they call that? They call it, what do they call that? I don't know what they call it, but she looks awesome. Oh yeah, but then up ahead, hey, to everybody out there that was freaking out and saying there's no possible way that they could get Hey Bai right. The CGI is just not going to come together. You can't actually put something like that on screen. Look at this. Take a look at the glory of Hey Bai right there in the Winter Solstice episode. Like, it looks like they're straight up just going to adapt that entire thing. That's amazing. But then here we are at Kyoshi Village, and this is what I was talking about with the practical versus CGI. Look at this set, guys. Like, we have Admiral Zhao, pretty clearly another character that we're gonna get a lot more in depth on. He's being played by Ken Leung, and he's been in a lot of other projects, even Force Awakens. If you guys remember, he says thermal oscillator. I don't know if you remember that randomly like I do, but he's talented, and that character along with Zuko are really the real antagonists of this season. Bro looks evil, and we're seeing him fight as well as we're seeing some of the Kyoshi warriors fight right in this scene. And that's really cool. I mean, it's good to see non-benders fighting. But what comes next is Omashu, and look at how good this looks. Omashu looks like somewhere that you could actually go. Like, it looks like a lived-in city within this world, and that's fantastic that they were able to do that. Apparently they actually put Gordon Cormier, the actor that plays Aang, on a rig flying around on his glider. So that's pretty sweet. I mean, it's just, this shot right here is so epic to look at, and it leads straight, and we're just immediately smacked in the face with the Blue Spirit. The Blue freaking Spirit, guys, and just seeing a small snippet of him in this trailer, that's enough for me. Like, this action with Aang and the Blue Spirit fighting together, oh my gosh, unreal. And then that leads into this part of the trailer that a lot of stuff just happens. It really shows showcases a lot of the bending. We've come a long way since the M. Night Shyamalan movie. We get to see some airbending here. Aang's airbending skills look amazing, but he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone, am I right? But we get that. We get Sokka using his boomerang. It's great to see that in live action, and also just the fact that that's included. We get Boomy earthbending, and the earthbending looks legit. I've only heard good things about the actor that's playing Boomy. Apparently he turned in one hell of a performance, so yeah, man, and he looks pretty cool. I mean, at least the bending in this shot looks pretty awesome. And then we have Katara waterbending and fighting Zuko, and look at the water meeting the fire. That is so cool. I think this is probably during the Siege of the North at the Northern Water Tribe, because at this point it looks like Katara is holding her own, and she really doesn't get that good until like the end of the season. So, but we also see Jet, and something that I noticed, kind of like the boomerang with Sokka, look at those freaking hook swords that he has. Like, the attention to detail is insane, man. And then we have Aang versus Zuko right here, and you can see that each different style of bending is associated with a different form of martial arts, just like they did in the animated series. Each bender moves differently, and even just watching this trailer you can tell that. And so it's very precise. Like, props to all the creatives involved with this. I can't wait to see more, like see all of this stuff in action, see extended sequences and all that choreography. It's gonna be so cool. But this is where I teared up in my reaction. I really did, because look at Aang, man. Entering the Avatar state, his eyes and his tattoos lighting up. The wait for this trailer, at least, was worth it, because it was hype. It was everything that I was hoping that it would be. And we don't have long to wait, man. I'm very curious to see how this whole thing is going to turn out, but we will see. But that was my shot-by-shot breakdown of this trailer. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And at this point, please head down to the comments section, hit subscribe on the way there, and then let me know all of your thoughts on this trailer. Like, what did you think? I'm sure some of you are massive fans of ATLA just like me, and some of you aren't. And so I'd be very curious to get a lot of those differing opinions and see what people are saying. Also, keep up with the channel. I'll be covering the series in full, so don't miss out on that. Smash like if you haven't already. Follow me on X, because I need more Avatar fans in my life, to be honest. And don't forget to keep up the good vibes, guys. But Avatar: The Last Airbender is coming February 22nd, and I believe that Aang can save the world.
Jones Vibes.